Welcome to Rage's Ramblings number 4. And this week we're going to talk about one of my favorite things, and that's guitars. But not just any guitars, I'm going to show you my current 2024 guitar collection. And I'm going to go from the newest acquisitions to the oldest ones in my collection. Now, I know I had done a full video about 4 years ago. My entire collection, mostly at that time, was Jackson guitars. And a lot has changed since then. I've actually quite changed things up with a lot of what I have. But anyway, here we go. We're going to start with, first we have my ESP LTD M1000 Candy Apple Red. I've done some recent videos on this guitar. As soon as this guitar was announced at NAMM 2023, I ordered it immediately because I liked a lot of the specs that were on this guitar. Most notably, it had the Fishman Fluence modern pickups, which I was really curious and interested in. It's got stainless steel frets, which is a new one for me. And I absolutely love the S-style, super strat, whatever you want to call this shape of guitar as well, with the reverse headstock. So this guitar I've actually been using in standard tuning, and it's sort of been my main guitar lately for my 80s hair cover metal band. So this has been the guitar for that in the last little while. And next in my collection, a lot of people have seen this recently, is this Washburn Funky Monkey Edition Rebel Dimebag Darrell signature guitar. Now, I had gotten this guitar in a trade with an old friend where we traded some guitars. I traded him an old Ibanez that I had, and he really wanted it. And I got this in return. So when I got it, he had put in the Dimebucker because stock this guitar didn't have Seymour Duncans in it. It had something else. But he had put a Dimebucker in it, and he had a pickup that was not even being used in this guitar. I actually replaced it with a proper Seymour Duncan 59 bridge pickup in the neck position, the way Dimebag used to do it. I cleaned it all up. He had installed an actual original Floyd Rose on this. It's all wired up with 2 volumes and a pot, and this guitar is amazing. This is the guitar I've been working with for the lower Pantera tunings, which has been a little bit below D standard that they do. It's sort of like between D and C sharp. So this has been tuned up for that. I had plans for this guitar for a Pantera tribute. I still need to find a guitar that would be in the higher tunings, something like maybe like a Dime Bolt or something, but I want a Washburn one. But they're very, very expensive right now in the used market. So I'm kind of keeping my eye out for one of those. But at some point, I'll get one. And then the next guitar in my collection is my PRS Custom 24 Floyd SE. Now, this is a guitar that really I was interested in because I really have gotten to like PRS style guitars. A little bit of a difference in the scale length to what I'm used to, which is the 25.5 inch, but this one's just a 25-inch scale, so a little bit shorter. I really like the headstock. I really like the birds. I like this finish on it, but of course it has a Floyd Rose on it, which I'm a Floyd Rose guy. And I really like the stability of the tuning and doing a lot of dive bombs. And of course, I wasn't a big fan of the stock pickups in this guitar. So I actually replaced it with a JB and Jazz set. And actually, I'm going to have a video soon. The difference, my opinions between active and passive pickups. And I'll probably give examples through some of these guitars. So keep an eye out for that video. But for now, this is my PRS SE Custom 24 Floyd. And then the next one, of course, for any Eddie Van Halen enthusiast is EVH Wolfgang. This one's the Special. And this is completely stock. And this is a guitar I keep actually in E-flat tuning, sort of like the Van Halen tuning. So anytime I'm learning material or whatnot that's half step down, this is the guitar I usually go to use. I love the detuner setup on this, where you can quickly go to detune to drop D, basically. The volume pot, that's the non-friction, like easy to roll up and down, I'm kind of iffy about. But otherwise, this guitar plays really well. It's actually, the body on it's actually really small compared to what you usually see with the headstock. The case is smaller than any other case I have. So it's kind of a compact guitar without it being compact, because it's a traditional 25.5 inch Fender scale length. I like the neck on this. It's got a really cool playable neck. The only thing, maybe I wish it had 24 frets. I do tend to go up really high on the fretting. It's got the selector here like a Les Paul, which I don't mind so much. Only when I'm tapping sometimes do I flip it up. But other than that, of course, dime bombs, it only goes one way. A little different for me, so I haven't really used it for jamming or anything. But yeah, this is a collector's guitar, obviously. And the next one is another signature guitar. I'm not really big into signatures, but this one I actually really like. And this is a Mark Tremonti PRS SE Custom. And this is his signature. It's completely stock. I actually really like the bridge pickup in this guitar. It's really good for drop tunings. So this is a guitar I actually usually keep for drop D. And when I do some recordings and stuff, I'll usually tend to this. If I'm in the mood for something more of a Les Paul feel, especially feeling-wise, this guitar's got a little bit of weight to it. The only modification I did on this one is I added locking tuners. Being no Floyd on it, I was trying to get a little bit better tuning stability. But yeah, this is a kind of a cool guitar. I haven't really used it live or anything, but I don't know, maybe in the future at some point. This would be the closest thing in my collection to a Les Paul. All right, and the next is this guy. Now, this guy came to me from a coworker of mine who gave me a steal of a deal on this guitar, but it didn't have a Floyd Rose on it. It didn't have any locking system on it. It didn't have a trem. So he sold it to me dirt cheap without a trem system. I've gone and put on the Floyd Rose Special, which I'm not a fan of. I want to actually put an original in this, or 1000 series at some point. And of course, it's a soloist. This is, I guess this would be an SL3 soloist. And I'm not sure how old this guitar is. I'm guessing early 2000s to maybe mid 2000s. Really, it's a good shredding guitar. I love the finish on this guitar. Like, it's just, the flame is just, it's just awesome on this guitar. So this is one of the only, well, I wouldn't say one of the only Jacksons, but this is the only non-American Jackson that I have in my collection. And if it's got a, I had to pull the pickups out, but it's got these stacked 59s, and then this is a Seymour Duncan distortion. I did use this playing for some rehearsals when I was still in the band Siren. The band actually really liked the sound of this guitar, but I haven't used it a whole lot. This guitar I keep at home in D standard tuning, so if I'm learning anything like Motley Crue and whatnot, this is the guitar I usually pull out. Now this guitar I also got in a trade with somebody via, I can't remember if it was Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace, but we made a trade. I traded a Jackson that I had that he really wanted, and he traded me this and another guitar for it. So this one I kept. I sold the other Ibanez, but I wanted this in particular because this is a Prestige S5470. I love the thin bodies of the Ibanez Sabres. I find these really comfortable. This trem system too, very stable. The ZR 0 point something. Anyway, I've just been having issues with keeping the arm bar in here, but otherwise stock pickups, which have a lot of output. I've actually considered switching them out to maybe some DiMarzios. I don't know. I've used this for a little bit of touring. And it actually sounds really good. It plays really well too. And it's a very comfortable guitar. So I'll actually do some practicing at home. Now this has the wizard neck, and I love this thin wizard neck. I really love this. It's the thinnest of my entire collection, where it really flattens out in the middle section. This is a shredder's guitar, and I love this guitar. For future plans, I might use this as a backup, depending on what I'm doing with my cover band live. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with this one. And all right, the next one is really interesting because it's sort of a project at the moment. And that's my Jackson Randy Rhodes RR1 USA. That, as you see, has no pickups in it right now, no electronics. I totally pulled everything out. Originally, this came with the passive JB and Jazz set, and I pulled them out. I had Seymour Duncan blackouts in this for a while, and I just couldn't there's something always wrong in the wiring. There's always some issue, especially with the three-way switch. I had set it up for 2 volumes, so I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do with this guitar. So I actually have a set of JB and Jazz to put in, or I just went and picked this up today because I ordered these, and this is Seymour Duncan Fishman Fluence Moderns, the same as in my LTD guitar. And I'm really considering putting these in and making maybe this a stage guitar for the cover band, the 80s hair metal tribute cover band. So I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I want to do that or put it back more or less to stock and sell it. I don't know. These guitars are so valuable. It kind of worries me to actually bring this out gigging now. I got $3,500 for this guitar, and I see some of these selling now used for like $4 grand. So I'm kind of like weary of whether or not I'm going to keep this one or sell it. Because I could get a couple other guitars instead of this, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But this is Randy Rhodes RR1 USA. And then this one was a staple guitar for me when I was in the band Siren. I played this guitar the most live. And this is my KE2, my Jackson Kelly USA. Of course, I've had it modified and I've put the Seymour Duncan blackouts out in it. I've changed and put only to 1 volume, and I've put the volume down here because I found it is just the volume was too close to the bridge pickup. I would also constantly be rolling down my volume when I was playing. But yeah, this guitar otherwise is an amazing guitar. I actually wasn't even interested in a Kelly, except I'm a big fan of Marty Friedman. So of course the Kelly shape I really was kind of interested in. And being a USA Kelly, I got a good deal. This had been sitting in a store for a while. It was sort of on clearance. So I got a killer deal on this one. So this one is my KE2 USA. And then the next one, of course, is probably my holy grail guitar, if people call it that. It's the one guitar I wanted my whole life, and that's my Randy Rhodes 1 USA in black. Of course, I've had it modified. It's got the Seymour Duncan blackouts as well, with just 1 volume and the 3-way. I've actually recently put on some upgrades in the hardware for the Floyd Rose system. And then this guitar, I used it live a few times. And then for quite a while, I kept this down to like drop C and even drop B at one point. But I've just recently brought it back up to standard tuning, and I use this in one of the rehearsals lately for Driven 211, and I love the playing of this guitar. The only thing I wish sometimes is it had 24 frets, but otherwise it looks killer. It looks like a heavy metal guitar. I'm always worried about banging it up, which the end on this one is a little bit banged up, typical of these guitars because of the long wing. But yeah, this is my holy grail guitar. This is the one I wanted forever. All right, and the last one in my collection, which I do have a video all about this on my YouTube channel, is a custom-made guitar. Now, this was made for me from a guy out of Barron's, Alberta, named Brian Passmore, and he custom-made this for me when I was playing in a band called Gravity Crash at the time. And my main guitar, and I should say probably my only guitar I was using at the time, was a Gibson Les Paul Standard that unfortunately the neck started warping on it to the point where it couldn't be fixed. It was typical of the 2007, 2008 era Gibson Les Pauls. So, but this was sort of like going to be either my backup or would become my main guitar in that band. So unfortunately, I only played 1 gig with this guitar before I had left the group. And this one was custom made, so it's basically sort of like a Gibson Les Paul spec. So it's got the 2 volumes, 2 tones. It's got a 3-way switch. I had him put in a Seymour Duncan Custom S8, it's an SH5 Custom and a 59 in this, because it was more of a alternative bluesy metal, blues rock kind of a band. So it wasn't really like super high gain, but I did do a bit of shredding in that band. So he custom built this guitar for me. Now, the entire guitar is made out of bird's eye maple. The neck, the body is completely made out of those pieces of wood. And the fretboard is actually walnut, which is really different for a fretboard. Now, the only thing is this guitar is really bright because of all the maple. So I haven't used it a lot. I've used it on a few recordings, actually, for when I want to really brighten up the guitar tones, especially on rhythm guitars. So this is my Passmore Custom V, as I refer to. So that's my guitar collection so far. Could I see another guitar in the near future? Probably, especially playing 80s hair metal cover band right now. I'm really wanting something that really represents that era right now. So I'm really digging something more like an Ibanez Genesis RG 550, or maybe like a Charvel or a Jackson from that era as well. So I'm kind of keeping my eyes out for something that I really feel would work really well. But for the meantime, I have been using this guy for that. That's why I love the tones out of this guitar, but it doesn't really scream 80s that much. The color kind of does. So I don't know. This for now, it's kind of been my main guitar, and I've contemplating keeping the white Rhodes and putting in the same pickups, the Fishmans. So we'll see what I'll do with that. But this is my guitar collection so far for 2024. So as I mentioned earlier, I am planning on doing another video soon. Maybe it'll be the next one where I'm going to compare my opinions and also give sound bites of some of these guitars between active and passive pickups and my opinions on what is good for depending on the situation. So that'll be it for this Rage's Ramblings. I know I was really fast in this one because I wanted to talk a lot about each guitar. So anyway, so till next time, shred on. Take care.